Welcome to this HelloID webinar brought to you by Tools Forever. Today we'd like to give you an overview of the new functionality in HelloID. We encourage you to ask questions. You can do this via the chat option. You can find the option here. At the end of the demonstration, your questions will be answered. I'd like to turn this over now to Cheered Sign-In, HelloID Product Owner and Manager. He will explain and demonstrate the new HelloID functionality. Please enjoy, and don't forget to post a question.
Jamie, thank you for the introduction. Welcome everybody for this to this webinar for the release we did this week, and this is the demo release. And as usual, I like to go through the functionality first in a PowerPoint presentation, and then I like to demo you the new functionality. Okay, so let's go. I just going to cover the new functionality and not other functionality in HelloID. And I first start with provisioning. We have 5 new items in this release, and now we can check on the source input if all the fields are available, and then you can select which fields are not supposed to be empty. And if a field is empty, you can block that record for import. And you can also put a threshold if a lot of those records are not present. So then you can block the whole import of that source system. I think an important mechanism to prevent that HelloID is going to make changes in the network that are not supposed to be done. Okay, another new item, that's the uniqueness check on an external system. I think it's an important mechanism that you can make sure that a username, SAM account name, display name, whatever attribute you have in Active Directory, that is unique across multiple systems, but also perhaps in a point in time. So if you want to make sure that a username is never being used or going to be used in the organization, you can put them in an exclusion list, and you can do uniqueness checks on that repository. A small change, but I think it's a welcome change. If you have a lot of business rules, now you can group and categorize them. Makes it easier to filter and to find the correct business rules you want to manage. A smaller one is that you can have a notification on the update event. You can see what was the previous value of the attribute and the new value of the attribute, and you can send that notification, for example, to the end user or to the manager of that person. Last small change is just a small change in the field name. I'm not going to demo you this new functionality, but I will show you the 4 items. I have not mentioned it in the beginning, but it was part of the introduction, is that if you have any questions, please put them on the chat and I will answer them at the end of the webinar. Okay, let's move over to access management. We have 2 new items in this release. Small one is that you can have markdown support, so you can include a link in the login field, and then you can jump to whatever document you want to be part of the login process. Perhaps you want to include a PDF or an external website to explain how the login process works into HelloID. I will show you a nice demo where you can also do self-service registration. It's really simple, straightforward on what I'm going to demo you, but you can extend that and make it far more sophisticated. But I will show you in the demo in a second. And we also have a selective MFA reset. In the previous version, you could only reset all the MFAs for a selected user. Now you can select which MFA you want to reset for that user. I think also in this past weeks we had some performance issues, so we also spent a lot of time on reducing the performance lag and increasing the performance and stability of access management. So we also spend a lot of time, but of course that's not new functionality. We also spent time for service automation, so no new functionality in this release, but we have invested a lot of time in improving the performance, especially of course on the data sources. That's not going to be released yet, later on this year, but also on resolving bugs. So more on the stability and the availability of that module. Okay, so let me move over to demo this new functionality to you. So the first item I like to show is the threshold on the source system fields. Let me log in and go to the provisioning section, source systems. I have multiple source systems. Let's choose this HR demo system. And there are no blocked persons yet because I have no required field set. But suppose I can put it on person. I can also set it on contract values, but let me do it on persons first. And so let's say that the mobile number is a required field. I can save it. I can do a re-import, but I can also run it on top of the snapshot. So just run it on the imported data already. And now you can see that there are blocked persons. And it says that the mobile number cannot be empty. And that's exactly what I just configured. So all these people have an empty phone number in the source system. There's also an overview. So here I can see that 80 people out of the 2010 do not have a mobile phone number, and these 80 people are blocked. All the others, that's 130 people, are being imported. So we also included an extra option that you can say, okay, if a lot of people are not imported, something is wrong with the source system, and then I want to block the whole import. So for all 220 and not only for the 80. And here you have another option, thresholds. And here I can say, so suppose more than 20 people do not have the right input value, I want to block the whole import. So let me save this, rerun, and now the whole import is being blocked. So now you can see that it's being blocked. And of course I can override that and say that okay, the under 130 should be imported and it should not block the whole import. Okay, so let me move over to the uniqueness check, and I will do that with the HR generator. So let me go to the system and add a new person to the import. And this will go up from 17 to 18. Do the import 18. Of course, I need to figure out who that person is. So run the evaluation. I don't do the enforcement yet, just only the evaluation. And Stacy is the new person. So let me look up Stacy. So here's Stacy. And the name generation algorithm is based on the external ID. So let me copy this number. So now let me move over to the uniqueness check. So how can you do that and how can you configure it? I think it's important to mention. So let me go to the account section. We also made a small change here. This is a new button and it has the mapping values that used to be on this page, but we moved this under this button. That's of course a minor UI change, but now you know that it is under this button. This is new. Check on external systems, and it's the uniqueness validation. And this is the new item. And what we can do now is that you have an external database. In my case, it's a CSV file, and then it will check the uniqueness, of course, on the Active Directory, but also on that external database. In this external database, you can put all fields in that you like. Perhaps forbidden usernames, but also usernames that have been used in the past and you don't want to be reused. So it's not going to only to check in the Active Directory, but it also will check in this configuration. So let me show you how you can configure that. It's a piece of PowerShell script. So I'm validating this CSV file. Of course, it can be ODBC, SQL, whatever, or even another system, anything that's compatible with PowerShell. And now I read this CSV file and validate if that name is unique. So let me look up Stacy, and I have not added that file yet. So it will be unique. But so it will search for that username that wants to be created. But it seems to be unique. So let me edit that CSV file and make it not unique. So of course that's good for demo purposes. Here is the CSV file. So let me edit this file, and I still have. So this is the username that wants to be created. A bit dirty, but let me edit this file this way. And of course I want to make sure that that username already exists. Yeah. So save, exit. And if I do a preview again, it will show that it is not unique. And that will be returned to the Active Directory iteration mechanism. So if I go here, and it was of course the same account name, it will up this number. So if I'm going to run this whole process again, just do the evaluation, and now do the enforcement, it will start creating Stacy. Go back to on-premise Active Directory, search for Stacy. I think it's being created on. I think I have to wait a little bit. So now it went through. Stacy is created. Let me go back to the Active Directory and search for Stacy. And here the account is created. And you can see that the login name is the external ID. And here you can see that the SAM account name has an iteration label. It's created that unique account. Let me go back to HelloID, Stacy on-premise Active Directory account. And here you can also see that the SAM account was not unique. There was the message I just showed you in the PowerShell script as well. Okay, so it was a bit of a long process to show you this uniqueness check. A lot more easy to show you is the categorization of the business rules. So if I go to the rules, here you can see categories, and you can filter on the categories. I just want to see Active Directory, then I only see the Active Directory rules. And you can easily change this. So you can create any categorization if you like. So suppose these are SQLite ones. I can say these are SQL, and I'll add a new category. So here you see, and you can also easily remove that one as well. So it automatically don't have a separate admin process or dialog, and now SQL is not existing anymore. The last item I'd like to show you is the notification in the update event. So I have an update notification. So it's an account update, of course, but here this is new. So we have a keyword differences, and it will be filled with the attributes that has been changed on the update. So let me force an update. So I will just change account, attribute, company name, change this to enjoy.org. Close, save, and run the force update. And I will update the number of accounts, and I will trigger the email message. So let me go to an email client. To refresh. So this is the new keyword section. So the company attribute has been changed, updated, and of course it was Active Directory, and it went from enjoy to enjoy.org. Okay, this was it for provisioning, and now let me move over to access management. Go back to the portal. And in access management, we had two new items. Let me show the selective reset first. Go to the directory, find a user. So I could just change this user. I can do a reset factor that was of course already available, but now I can do a selective one. So I can deselect. I can just say I just want to reset the hardware token authentication, and now the other two factors will not be reset. Simple, but I think an effective change. Another one that was already partly available, and that was part of the security identity provider, security authentication identity providers. And I've changed the local one. So this was already available, but not the markdown. So I can make stuff in bold. But what I really like is that you can include a link and to give more information about the login process. But what I've created as a demo is that you can do self-registration. So let me log off. Go to the local one, and here I can do a self-registration. And if I go to this link, it will open up a Google form, and now I can do a registration. And of course, I can make this as complicated as possible. What I do, this is a Google form, and on submit, it will evoke the creation of a local user in the HelloID vault. But of course, I can also create an entry in a CSV file for import. I can do start a product for an approval. So I can start all sorts of things that initiate stuff in HelloID. So make this really simple. Of course, this has nothing to do with HelloID, it's just Google Forms. So I will create this username and have a default password. And so I went through this link, filled in the details, created the username, sign in, and now I can log in with that name, because the creation was done via the API in the HelloID vault. And to make the circle, so there's the user, created via the external link. Okay, this is the functionality in the new release that I wanted to cover. I don't know, Jamie, I think, yeah, there are some questions. Jamie, can you ask the questions for me? Thank you.
Hi, Jared. Thank you so much for that demo. First up, is required the only option available for input validation? If the answer is yes, will you be adding more?
Yes, today this is the only option that is available, so it is empty or not. We definitely think we're going to add some validation checks to it, but that's not planned on the short term. So we just have to see if this is going to work out and if this fits, if it's fit for purpose. But the model is definitely designed in such a way that we can add other validation fields. Thank you for your question.
Is the SAM account name the only available field that can be checked for overall uniqueness?
No, the SAM account name is not the only field. You can add as many fields as you can do. Email, display name, whatever. Also together in one check, so you have multiple attributes to check.
Is the uniqueness check available for every connector?
The uniqueness check, global uniqueness check, is now only available for the Active Directory, and of course it is available for every connector, but that on that connector itself, not on other systems. So the global uniqueness check is only for Active Directory available. Thank you. Next question, Jamie.
Yes, correct. Last question. Is the notification for differences only available for attributes or also for entitlements?
The differences is now only for attributes and it's not for entitlements. So it's for update only. It is available for every connector, but it's only for the attributes. Okay, Jamie, I see that this is the last question. Thank you everybody for your attention, and hopefully I see you next month. Okay, thank you and have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye bye.